Yo, what is up, everybody? John from Tau Tactics here, bringing another video. Today we've got another tournament recap. This time it's Auxiliary Cadre. We brought a couple planes and a couple railgun hammerheads just for fun for the last GT of the season, essentially. So we're going to be walking through the list, my matchups, what I did right, what I did wrong, hopefully so you guys can learn along the way. Also, at the end of the video, I want to walk through my most updated Auxiliary Cadre list so you guys have something to work off of, run through it, and explain why the things are in the list, why the things in the list are there, specifically because of the stealth suit changes, which I know a lot of folks are kind of trying to identify what the best guiding package is. So we're going to walk through what I think is the best there. But before we hop into the video, I want to give a huge shout out, as always, to our channel sponsor, Secondhand Geek. Now, I'm sure you guys are familiar with Secondhand Geek if you've seen some of my videos already, but they're an awesome online marketplace that supports wargamers like you and me in local gaming stores. They do lots of awesome stuff for the community, and also charge a lot less than other online marketplaces like eBay, but also have that safety of, being a legit online marketplace, unlike places like Facebook where you could run into some issues at some point. So we're doing a giveaway with them. We're giving away this Tau Empire Battle Force box set. So how to get involved in the giveaway is, if you're not signed up with Secondhand Geek, use the link in the description to sign up with Secondhand Geek. You'll automatically get entered in the giveaway. And then for every listing that you create, if you're already signed up with Secondhand Geek, every sale listing that you create will also give you an additional chance in the giveaway. So definitely hop in on that, and a huge shout out, as always, Secondhand Geek. Really appreciate the support, guys. Awesome, so let's hop right into my list. So we did end up getting 4th place out of 46 players, so decent showing. As you can see, this was for very specific people. I was seeing a lot of vehicles without invulns in the meta, and wanted to play something a little bit more fun, so I decided to bring a couple railgun hammerheads, a couple of the planes. So my list is Commander Shadowsun, love her in Aux Cadre. For the real ones to hit Aura, I did not get a single CP from her all weekend, but she's my only lone op in the list because I didn't have ghost skills, so she plays a really important role by allowing me to stand on objectives out in the open with another auxiliary unit, like Crew Carnivores or Crew Tox Rampagers, just standing out in the open with her having the 12-inch lone op and the auxiliary unit having the 18-inch lone op. I've got the Cold Star Commander with the missile pods and Admired Leader. So he's my volume ranged unit to help identify and take out units that my Rampagers can't get to. We've got 2 solo broadsides just for the output for the big shots. We've got the Fire Knife team to accompany the commander, and then we have 2 railgun hammerheads. So I didn't think too hard about this choice between railgun hammerheads and sky rays. It came back to bite me in the ass, and I'll talk a little bit about throughout this tournament recap. But I think the railgun hammerheads plus the Razorshark Strike Fighters introduced a lot of variance in my matchups, because when the railgun hammerheads are really good, they're really, really good, and they almost like auto win me a matchup, but they're very bad in the matchups that they're bad into, so it makes my easy matchups a lot easier, and it makes my hard matchups a lot harder. And I think if you're going to go try to win an event with Tau, I would say railgun hammerheads are probably not the play for that very reason. You probably want to have just more even matchups where you can try to outskill your opponent, as opposed to winning based off of the list that you're building, which is it's just a very polarizing pick. So for me, I had a lot of fun with it, but just a word of the wise that it's going to make some matchups really good, but it's going to make other matchups pretty bad, where it just basically turns into you have an OC3 transport that basically does no damage throughout the course of the game. I've got 2 units of carnivores. I really liked having 2 units just as OC dumps to put on expansion objectives and force a response. They basically always require your opponent to trade something to kill them, and it's always a trade up for us, because usually the units that your opponents are bringing to kill 65-point carnivore unit is probably more expensive. We've got 2 units of Crude Hounds, got a lot of value out of them, given the extra OC buff with screening. They move really fast. They're basically Vespid without the guns, with 1 less OC. So in combination with the Admired Leader, got a ton of value out of them. They scored really well for me, so they were great. Got the 12 Rampagers. Love them. They were awesome. 6 usually starting on the table, 6 usually coming from reserves. 1 Pathfinder team. And then the 2 Razor Sharks, similar to the Hammerheads, I found them to be really swingy. There were a few matchups, like World Eaters, for example, already a pretty okay matchup for Tau, but having these on the table means the only thing, because these are aircraft, the only thing that could do any damage to them are the forge fiends, so they just get to kind of fly around the whole game and kill whatever they want, which is gross. But I had a ton of fun with them. The 2 stealth suit units and 1 Vespid. Awesome. So let's hop right into matchup number 1. So we got to play Steven, who actually ended up coming in 6th in this event. He went 4-1. So we're playing Search and Destroy into Orcs. This is the big hunt. He's got, as you can see, these kill rigs. These are the ones that have flamer las cannons. But as you can see, these guys, let me grab my pen real quick. These guys don't really fit on Search and Destroy super well. So what we've deployed here, give me one quick second. So you can see we've deployed with the hopes of going first here. So we have our Crew Carnivores ready to stick in the middle if I go first, and my home. Which is exactly what we did. This is me going first. This is after the scouting step. We've got a unit of carnivores here ready to push OC onto this objective right here. This is why I really like the second unit of carnivores, because they can stage up and get ready to deny your opponent's natural. So if your opponent isn't proactive about countering these guys, then it's a free, easy denial on primary. So if he has to both step something on an objective and attack this unit to guarantee that he's getting primary, which again uses up a bunch of resources. We've got a unit of Crude Hounds here ready to scout up into this area and block out this part of the table, so I can then easily hold my natural expansion. And then we have 1 Railgun Hammerhead ready to move 10, potentially get shots here, and both of these broadsides ready to step into this feature. Both of them don't actually fit, so this guy has to step his little toe right here, while this guy gets to step into feature himself. So we have our Admired Lunar unit, staged pretty centrally. This is basically like where they would always go on like every map, staged behind a central ruin, ready to give OC out here and here. I always was measuring before the start of my movement phase and the command phase, and made sure I'm within 12 with these units so that I can give them that extra OC. And turn 1, we end up pulling Tempting and Secure No Man's Land, which is great because we have stuff that can touch every single objective out here. I believe he makes Tempting this objective, so what we do is we give them OC with this commander unit. We also have the decision if we want to move block here or not, which I think is the right play. I don't want 20 boys, which is what's in this transport right here, staging on me super aggressively over on this part of the table where I can't really interact down this line, at least right now. So pretty standard turn. So you see we execute the move block up here. We do step both of the broadsides in to see this kill rig back here. We step up the Railgun Hammerhead, see him, we take him out pretty easily. So nice little alpha strike here, and as you can see, he's all bottled up now. We've staged up our Crute right here to execute another move block on this 20-man that I know is coming at some point during this game, to really limit the effectiveness of it moving forward. We stick in the middle and take our Crute off of it, so now our opponent has to put something on this objective, and it's basically going to die for free because there's nothing he can charge in the area, and try to get to my natural, which isn't super possible right now. One mistake that I made here was I left these Pathfinders kind of hanging out in the open here, which allowed him to get his flash git truck to get a line on them and shoot them. I really should have just had at least Shadow Sun on here because I knew he couldn't touch the point physically. As long as I had Shadow Sun on there, I would have been totally fine. And that's something you'll see throughout this tournament is having Shadow Sun, just having a lone op is super valuable for this list specifically. And it's something that I made some mistakes with Shadow Sun this tournament that came back to bite me in the ass a little bit. So definitely something I should have done there. Just paid a little bit closer attention on where I was placing this unit, and that if I just put Shadow Sun here, that I just automatically scored no matter what. Okay, so we missed a couple photos here, but what ended up happening was our opponent moved a truck up here to get shots down this way. He disembarked his 20-man boy unit back here after some finagling. He got out and charged this Crute unit, I believe, and killed them pretty easily. And he rapid ingressed this unit all the way back in this corner. So what we end up doing in response is we charge, and he had put some Death Copters in the middle of the table to get his overforce. He does kill the Pathfinder, so I don't get the extra primary turn 1, which is terrible. Huge mistake by me. Just not getting the free points there. So what my thought process here is I want to kill all the flash kits because they kill my screens really well, and they're his really effective trading pieces. I just want him to be playing with the really big stuff while I still have railgun hammerheads and broadsides online to really easily take them out, because they are an ideal target for the railgun hammerheads and the rail broadsides. So again, we just create some more space here. We're saving this 6-man to ideally go and answer this 20-man boy unit that he has here. So what we do is we line up this hammerhead to kill the truck. Then we line up these planes to kill the stuff inside. We do end up activating one of the units into this boy unit, one of the planes into the boy unit, and kill a bunch of them, basically neuter them almost entirely. And basically my opponent, Steven, he's got to push after this point, try to claw back as much board presence as he can. But again, he's basically hitting screens. Interlocking maneuvers with the Rampager unit here to deny his primary and kind of complete the screen across the middle of the table, which is pretty nasty. And then my opponent, he has to charge into the middle of the table with the boy unit to kill the 6-man Rampagers. So what ends up happening is he ends up touching this crew carnivore unit. I believe it was pretty unavoidable. So he touched the crew carnivore unit, and then I get to interlocking maneuvers again with this crew unit to guarantee me primary on the middle and execute a move block again of his entire army. And at this point, we're just picking off at the things that are left on the table that can potentially score for him, and leaving him with this pocket of stuff up in this top corner. And the planes just keep activating and killing stuff, and picking up, like 5-man units, which is exactly what they're for. Now, they don't have any OC themselves, but against an army that has a bunch of really tough stuff that doesn't want to be doing actions, isn't super effective at scoring, me being able to take out his scoring pieces is the value that they're adding for me. So at this point, we basically shove our army forward, and Steven's just a little bit too far behind on points to claw back here. So this is the end of the game. We basically kill everything that each of us have. This is actually super funny. He brings up this kill rig to get him area denial. He was going to charge this unit, but he just literally shot and killed all of them in one activation. He got 3 hits on the las cannon. I failed all the saves, and he hit 5 damage, 6 damage, 6 damage to kill literally the entire unit, because his lava killed this guy who was on 1 wound. But good game to Steven. I think one thing that we talked about was probably him just deploying on the line with his whole army, and if he goes first, just going all in. Just knowing that he didn't have enough resources to kind of interact with me after the initial move blocks to start the game. So who's to say like how that game would have turned out if he went first? But I think deploying to really take advantage of going first was probably his best game plan, just knowing that I have a ton of screens to deal with him. Awesome. So game 2, we go against World Leaders. This is against Ross. Ross was a fantastic opponent. He's got 2 units of Berserkers, a couple Forge Fiends, basically the normal World Leaders list right now. So this is Terraform, so obviously I really want to go first. What I did here is I made sure that I had essentially 3 units within normal move of the midfield objective. So I have Pathfinder unit that's within 7. I've got this crew unit that can get on. Same thing here. I've got a crew carnivore unit that's within 7 to touch this objective, plus some hounds behind. I have the 12-inch to this crew hound unit, 12 inches to these guys. Now the thought process for that is I want to be able to touch every objective if he does decide to terraform them back, and then kill whatever is on it as well. So I basically have enough damage staged up with 1 broadside, 1 rail hammerhead, and Shadow Sun to kill any 3-man or spawn unit that touches this objective. I've got Rampagers and Pathfinders ready to answer here. This unit of Crisis Suits can go to the middle or down this way to answer this side, and then I can touch these objectives pretty easily. So we do end up going second here, but my opponent Ross, I think this is just a really tough matchup when he doesn't, 4 World Leaders playing Terraform into Tau, just because I have so many more units than he does, and he really needs his units to be killing my screens. But he doesn't terraform any of the objectives here, which I think was a mistake. because I end up going first and I just terraform all 3 right away and just say, come deal with my cheap units. You're not going to be able to terraform and kill me at the same time unless you commit like 2 resources per objective. So as you can see, my turn 1, I pull area denial, so I give OC to this unit, and they get within 3 of the middle, and they also terraform. I normally move 7 this crew carnivore unit, they terraform over here. I normally move this crew carnivore unit within this low knot bubble, and they terraform up there as well. So I put a huge amount of pressure on my opponent to respond, and he's not really in the position to get aggressive on me. He's got a unit of spawn right here that could potentially advance the charge this way. He's got a unit of jackals, and then he has another unit of spawn. So again, he can potentially kill all these units that are standing on these objectives, but then he's trading a 90-point unit for a 40-point unit, a 90-point unit for a 65-point unit, a 90-point unit for another 65-point unit, and all the objectives maintain being terraformed. He's not going to be able to flip them as well. So I'm feeling pretty good about this at this point. Like, he has to, the onus is on him to do something about the position that I put him in. And I think this is the point where the game was pretty much just over, because he wasn't in a position to full send me. And he needed to be. He needed to full send me and hit me everywhere at once. Like, for example, this card in this Rhino needs to be somewhere where it can get out and just charge and tag a bunch of shit at one time, which my opponent did not do. So what ends up happening is, I believe he gets onto this objective, and this objective kills my stuff. He kills the Crude Hound unit, kills the Carnivore unit. So what I end up doing is giving extra OC to these hounds and positioning them so that they're on both of these objectives, so that my opponent can't sticky on death them. So I then just point enough guns at the middle. I think it was jackals, so I pointed all of these guys here, plus Shadow Sun to guide. And I think he had 2 units to spawn over here, so I bring my planes down in the corner, and they just blow both of those units up alongside the Railgun Hammerhead. Because one thing I always think about into World Leaders is I basically just completely disrespect Forge Fiends if they're outside of 18 inches, because they have to be within 18 to get the extra 3 shots that they get and the rerolls to hit. So I know that they can definitely one-shot a Hammerhead. Whoops. A Hammerhead or like a Skyray chassis if they have the rerolls, but without the rerolls, it's very unlikely. Usually they'll get 6 damage, maybe 9 damage through in that case. So just a little tip there. And then what my opponent ends up doing is he steps his Demon Prince onto the middle, has some 8-bound behind this wall within 3 inches to give him the lone op. So that's where the planes come in. This plane gets a line into this feature alongside these stealth suits. So what I'm able to do is kill the 8-bound units, so the Demon Prince loses the lone op. I position these Pathfinders within 8 of him to get a grenade off, but I end up just shooting this one Railgun Hammerhead, and I think 1 broadside at him, and he just like literally folds over immediately. I'm pretty sure I hit a dev wound on the Rail Hammerhead shot. So ended up spending 2 CP here, Automat 6, Advance to Charge, and these Rampagers end up sitting in the middle of the table, which is pretty funny. But at this point, the game's pretty much over. He basically has the 2 Berserker units, the Slaughterbound unit, and again, I'm on all the objectives with all my cheap stuff, so he'll get to kill all the stuff that's on the objectives, but I'll get to continue activating with all my guns, with my Hammerheads, with my planes and whatnot, which is really bad for him. So this is kind of what the end board state looks like. I rapid ingressed a 6-man Rampager unit, but didn't even charge the Rhino because he can reactive disembark. So when he reactive disembark, that meant I can't charge the Rhino. He'll just heroic into me, which just leads to like a potential high variance play, which I don't need to be taking risky plays because I'm so far ahead. So I just let them come out and hit my Rampager unit, knowing that I have this Fire Knife unit ready to shoot 20 shots at AP1 for 2 into that unit down there pretty easily. And so that's pretty much it. As you can see, basically the end of the game, he's just got a couple of Forge Fiends left. We're still on all the objectives, and it's pretty much GG's for now. Alrighty, so this is game 3 into Phil's Deathwatch. If you haven't heard of Mastercrafted yet, I would highly check out their YouTube channel. They do a lot of similar stuff to me, except for they support, they talk about a bunch of different armies, do meta-analysis, that stuff. So I'll put a link in the channel description down below. Phil is one of the guys who runs it and is a good buddy of mine. So he's playing Deathwatch here, and so this is where I think the choices that I made in list building came back to bite me. So, like for example, if these hammerheads here were ion hammerheads, I would feel a lot better about this matchup because he has a lot of dudes with 3 wounds. He has like a full like two 10-man units strong that are 3 wounds apiece, which my army doesn't deal with super well because I have a lot of 2 damage shots and a lot of 2 damage in melee, so not super strong into like 50 to 60 Space Marine bodies. Couple things that we talked, Phil and I talked about before the game. One of them is having 1 Rampager unit reserves. Now, one thing that I was a little bit concerned about was a potential nasty Overwatch from these guys showing up on a board edge, advancing and charging into something and having to eat an Overwatch. But I think that was better than the alternative of what happened, which is I basically just gave him this Rampager unit completely for free. So one thing that I should have done here, this is after my first turn, so Phil ended up going first, but I had this Rail Hammerhead sitting right here. This is basically where I deployed, just thinking to myself, like, really it's not worth it, Phil, for you to step out, kill a Railgun Hammerhead. It's not super valuable for me. He's probably likely to kill it, but again, it's just not a super valuable unit for him to be going after and exposing units to kill. So really what I should have done is just advance him straight forward to buy myself some space for the Rampagers and to make it so that he can't actually just like deep strike onto his natural expansion, because what I basically allowed him to do was just show up 18 away from these guys, or within 18, and shoot them for free. So this was really important. Like this guy should have been way forward. These guys should have been towards the back of him to give them that load up bubble. Another thing that I kind of messed up here was I rolled a max advance with these carnivores. I should have pushed them 3 inches past Shadow Sun. I was a little bit afraid of just putting them in this feature and making it really easy for my opponent to shoot this way, but in reality, he already had shots this way from this unit, and it's like 4d6 blast, so I think he ended up rolling like almost max shots and just wiped the entire unit with like 3 of these dudes here, which was pretty gnarly. And then he ended up dropping here for a 10-inch charge into Shadow Sun, hitting it, which was pretty gross, and kind of changed the complexion of like what the game was looking like from that point forward. What else to note? I had 2 broadsides here, so I think there's a world where I just step these 2 broadsides out to get shots on his Terminators early on and try to just pick up this resource before he gets to use them and get value out of them. I think that would have been worth my time personally, because again, 2 units of 1 broadside is kind of an awkward. They're awkward units for my opponent to kill, and I don't think he's super incentivized to go after them. And I think they'd be fairly safe in this angle. Now, he probably could have dropped something right here to get shots on, but then I'm able to bring in both of my planes to activate into them and get this Fire Knife unit involved, while spreading out some screens. So I think that could have been some free damage for me. Now, it is a little bit of a frustrating matchup because I think I'm just on the back foot from the front, from the jump, but there were things that I could have done better to give myself a better chance to win. First one is rapid ingressing a 6-man Rampager unit. Second one would be advancing this Hammerhead up, make sure I'm giving myself as much of a screen for my 18-inch lone-op units as possible, and then because I rolled a big advance, just accepting that the Kroot unit is going to die and having Shadow Sun stay at the tip of this objective completely untouchable. As long as I have Kroot units outside of 3 of Shadow Sun, that means that he can't physically drop within 12 and shoot me. So maybe he could have advanced and shot this unit to kill me, but he can't just drop, shoot down, and kill the unit for free. So definitely a couple good learning moments there. Okay, so this is after he makes the charge. So he made the 10-inch charge, grotesque. Hated every second of that, but it was a good play by Phil. Then I lost this full Rampager brick for freezies over here, which sucked. Okay, so this is after my turn, I believe, or sorry, after my movement phase. So what I did was I stepped one of my stealth suits on this objective to ideally deny it and kill enough of this unit. We advanced to charge this Rampager brick into the middle to handle this 5-man unit of dudes, and then we dropped both planes down to do as much damage as possible to this 10-man over here. One important interaction that happened, which I don't think is avoidable for me or my opponent here, is I advanced the Crude Hounds up here to both push his screen and also what's it called? Give extra AP into this unit and this unit. Now, Phil overwatched them and killed them down to the man, which I think was the right call. But we did end up losing that resource, which meant we didn't get extra AP into this unit, which was a pretty big deal. I did realize after I moved this guy that there was a little spot where I was outside of 9 with the Railgun Hammerhead, where he could just rapid ingress onto his objective. So I decided, okay, well, I can't let that happen. Let him get primary free. So I advanced the Hammerhead and gave him advanced shoot for the turn to ideally do some damage over here. What else? Lined up these fire knives over this way. Lined up these broadsides to kill these guys as well. And this is where I get punished. So my opponent rapid ingresses right here, right in front of this fire knife unit. Now, I'm not 100% sure what I could have done differently here to avoid this, other than potentially advancing the stealth suit unit up as far as we possibly could, and just being a little bit more mindful of this fire knife unit. I think they could have just been like back here shooting into this unit. They didn't need to be this close, which gave him, like, I believe it was a 6-inch charge into Groot and a 7-inch into the Cold Start Commander, and this is basically he was setting up for the knockout punch. Now, one thing that was super disappointing was I've never had this happen. I've never had this swing down happen before, but I put the 6-man Rampagers into this Terminator unit. I think I did 1 mortal in the charge. I spent the 2 CP for reroll wounds and extra AP, and I only killed 3.5 out of the unit. Down here, both of the planes activated, shot every gun that they had. Railgun Hammerhead shot every gun that he had. He used AOC on one of the activations, and yeah, he ended up with like 3 or 4 guys left, which was basically GG's in my opinion. He also had 1 Terminator alive over here. In order for me to be in this game, I needed to kill these Terminators dead, I needed to kill this unit dead, and I needed to kill these Terminators dead to give myself a fighting chance. Now he gets an opportunity to interact with a lot of my damage dealers, and I need this unit and these 2 to activate continuously over the course of the game, like probably 3 times each, for me to have a chance, and I needed my Rampager units, at least, I needed both of them to connect and do real damage to have a chance here. So, yeah, from this point forward, Phil's just like in the driver's seat. He also, one other thing that he had in his list that was super annoying is he has these indirect pieces, the Castellan launchers, and stuff, like these guys right here, the Desolation Marines, so he's able to also pick up my trash really effectively. That's why this unit of Pathfinder is way back here. I probably just have to accept that they're going to die and put them somewhere where they're actually valuable to me, as opposed to just like hiding in the back, because again, it wasn't super helpful. But at the time, I just wanted to preserve the 9 ion rifle shots because I knew I needed to have as much damage online as possible to handle all these Marine bodies. Alright, so we have game 4. Now, this is Purge the Foe. Thankfully, we pulled Drukhari, which is pretty awesome, because that actually makes it an even game because we both have just a shit ton of units. So we're playing against my buddy Luke here, and Luke is playing Cabalite Cartel, which we end up going first. Where we deployed our crew carnivores was right here. And so he had a unit of Cabalite warriors ready to sticky this objective over here. So what I like doing when I go first on Purge the Foe is touch every single objective. Forces my opponent to give me a bunch of units to interact with in my turn 2. So it gives me a little bit of control over who's going to get kill/kill more. And also, if he doesn't want to commit, will give me hold more for free. So I set up this Crude Hound unit within 12 of the commander. I give them extra OC so they go touch the middle. And marked for death was this objective. So what I wanted to do ideally was charge these guys in, use interlocking maneuvers to get back behind this terrain plate. But After thinking about it further, because the killing these Cabalite warriors was with 4 points plus 2 for Mark for Death, so 6 points, I decided, let me just use extra AP into this unit to guarantee the kill, because I think that's more important, because this unit's dying for free next turn, so it really would have been an extra 4-point downswing for me if they die. I put this hammerhead on this objective because my opponent doesn't have a Scourge on the table, so this is going to be really hard to deal with. Now, he does have a unit of Mandrakes he could potentially advance onto this objective, but again, he's just giving me units and making it easier for me to get kill more in my follow-up turn. So we do get Tempting, we do get Mark for Death, and now it's my opponent's turn. He pulls Overforce and no Priz, so I don't remember what kills the Crude on the middle, but I want to say it's like a combination of a Venom plus the Mandrakes, but he takes it out pretty easily. He uses some Hellions to kill this unit on the Crew Carnivore unit, and has his Venom staged right here to interact with me later on in the game. So at this point, what we decide to do is we decide to get kind of aggressive with this Hammerhead to potentially push back his screens. We basically reset the board state, which is we're going to kill this Hellion. The Hellion unit, we move up this Iron Hammerhead to get a shot down this way. We move Shadow Sun up to potentially get some shots in the middle as well. And then we reset the board state, which is putting multiple things on objectives. And again, asking my opponent, hey, would you like to step on these objectives? Pretty please. So what he ends up doing is he ends up rapiding this Incubi unit basically right in front of my face. It lets me get 8 Crew Carnivore shots into it, plus the Ion Hammerhead's Burst Cannon, plus 2 shots from Shadow Sun. I end up swinging up and killing like 6, I think, of the unit, 6 out of 10, which is really great, which puts him in a really awkward position where this unit was supposed to go into the Rampagers, but now with just 4 guys plus the character, will likely just die on the clapback and not kill this unit in return. So as you can see, we have successfully baited out our opponent, and now is kind of the push turn where it's time for us to, I believe we rapid ingress some Rampagers over here to help clean up this mess, ideally tag this Ravager over here, and just do as much damage as we possibly can. So we lose the Ion Hammerhead, we basically clear up everything we can. This Rampager unit moves up to potentially take this unit out in case things go poorly. We take out this transport with a broadside plus a railgun Hammerhead, and we advance this Fire Knife unit into this pocket right here to get some lines under the Scourge into the middle, where they will be really difficult to interact with it, but you basically have to be in this specific spot of the table to shoot them back, so I know that's super unlikely. We end up charging the Rampagers into the Cabalites and tagging this this guy right here. He pops out the Incubi in response and the Hellions to kill the Rampagers. Again, commits another unit of Hellions to the middle to kill these Carnivores. And what ends up happening is things go a little bit left for him. So with the Hellions and the Incubi, he only kills 4 Rampagers. So I put both of the Rampagers into the Hellions and kill like 3, I believe. And these guys were standing on the objective at the time. So what ends up happening is I end up getting the kill or the hold more because these 2 guys live, which was a really big swing. I do believe he did kill one of the planes when it came down with his Scourge. But again, now at this point, we're standing on the objectives. Our opponent is not. We're in positions to score secondaries. Our opponent is not. So we're at a really good place, even with the bottom of turn scoring to pull it out here. And then the final turn, I believe, what did I pull? I got Storm Hostile and Extend, so there was a unit on this middle objective, so I just commit the Rampager unit. To get Storm Hostile, I run everything back, everything else, so that he can't possibly get kill more. Luke makes a really good play here, which is he keeps the Mandrakes in the sky and then rapid ingresses them so that he can get the second kill on this Vespid unit, so he'll get kill more, hold more, and then he gets a 5 on cleanse at the end of the game. But that's not enough because we built up enough of a score lead, both primary and secondary scoring, to pull this one out. Alrighty, and final game of the day. This was a pretty funny game just because I've played Adam before. I actually played him on War Games Live. The only other time that I used the planes was against Adam. So I've brought the planes to 2 events. Adam has had the pleasure of playing them 2 times. This time he brought a Land Raider Redeemer, which, spoiler alert, Railgun Hammerheads really like Land Raider Redeemers. So he deployed his Land Raider Redeemer fairly aggressively in this spot, kind of realizing there's really 3 options he could have gone for here. He could have deployed it in a position where it can get some value for him fairly early on to the game, or he can deploy it way back, play it like a slower piece, and not give me any options to shoot it, or he could bring it on from reserves. I think after the game, we both identified that coming off of the table edge from reserves is probably the best option for the Redeemer, to be 100% honest with you. Because what happens turn 1 is I just go first. I have both my hammerheads staged to get a line on it turn 1, and we kill it pretty trivially. What we do is we put a carnivore unit on this objective to force a response from him, either sending these incursors or this Infernus Marine squad. Now, one thing, I wanted to give these guys the 18-inch loan op so he couldn't just cross-court me with his shooting assets, but I think that would have been totally fine, because then I just get to shoot back with Railgun Hammerhead, and Broadside. And what ends up happening is I end up losing Shadowsun in this process for free, which is a big deal, because Shadowsun's 2 melt guns are actually really valuable into this matchup, because my opponent has a lot of T10 and T9 vehicles where she just goes straight through. It does D6 plus 2 damage, so having her around would have been really valuable. In addition, just having a loan up on this layout in general is really powerful, to just be able to hold this objective while standing completely out in the open. So I think committing Shadowsun here was a poor idea, and I didn't realize how far this guy could go, shoot Infernus Marines, and just basically clear this whole corner pretty trivially. So what ends up happening, we just switched. We were looking really quickly here, but what ends up happening is he puts the Impulsor onto this objective. He shoots all the Flamers at Shadowsun. I think he hands me 11 4-ups, so I need to pass 6 to live, and I fail like 8 of them. So she dies immediately. He ends up shooting the rest of the shots into the crew carnivores and then charging them with the incursors to steal the objective from me. So what we end up doing here is he also gets his Impulsor into a spot right here. Onto the objective to deny me primary, because what I did was put 1 crude here. Now I should have thought twice about that and just put 2 crude on the objectives to make it so that he had to get out to do something, but that was a mistake by me. So what he has now is a unit of dudes plus, an Impulsor plus dudes in here, Impulsor plus dudes in here, some scouts on this objective. So what I would like to do this turn is kill Impulsor and guys inside, kill Impulsor and guys inside. So how we go about doing that is we line up this Hammerhead to shoot here and here, both Impulsors. We line up this Broadside to shoot Impulsor, and then we line up this Broadside to shoot Impulsor. Same thing with this Hammerhead. He can shoot here or here. And then we bring both planes down over here to get some shots down in this area, because he does also have a unit of incursors on this objective. Now, the funny thing is the Impulsors are they're actually the most tricky unit for Railgun Hammerheads to kill, because they have that 5-up invuln, which makes things a little bit sketchy. So with the remaining Kroot unit, because I believe he got some shots on this unit, with the remaining Kroot unit, what I end up doing is blocking the backside of his Impulsor. So like his Impulsor is like in a box like right here. So I block where he can disembark, so he has to disembark close to this Rampager unit. So he ends up disembarking like right here instead of like right here. So it makes it like a 4-inch charge instead of a 6 or like a 7. And so we do exactly what we set up to do. We kill this unit of incursors pretty easily with like the last activation. We start with the stuff that can only shoot Impulsors, that's most valuable, so I believe we put Railgun Hammerhead here. I don't kill it, so I put 1 Broadside into it, then I take it out. Railgun Hammerhead into this Impulsor, we one-shot it. And so we have Broadside to shoot. This Fire Knife unit ends up killing the incursors. We have one of the planes guide the other plane into the 5 Infernus Marines over here. Because they're 2 OC each, they have to die so that he doesn't score any primary on that objective. And then we effectively, we do charge into this company hero unit. It's battle shocked because it's getting out of the Impulsor, so no AOC. So I do use extra AP there and reroll wounds to kill everything, but like one dude in the character over here. He brings this unit down this way to deal with these guys, and so from here I basically just try to kill as much stuff as I possibly can. I know I'm going to take a pretty big hit here, but I'm basically fighting over every midfield objective at the same time, because I really have enough units to do it. And now he has the choice of going for the planes, which don't have any OC but kill him really effectively, or go for the stuff that's on objective. So let's see what he does. So he does a little bit of both. He goes for, and I think he kills both planes and this railgun hammerhead. He brings out this unit right here. They just ace the hammerhead on sight. He's got one thunderstrike here. He's got this unit of dudes over here. He clears out the entire rampager unit on this objective with the blade guard vets. So I rapid ingress in response with my rampagers to try to clear this objective. So that's my thought process again, is just kill everything that's standing on objectives that's right in front of me, and just hold his primary as low as possible for the entirety of the game if I can. So what ends up happening is we line up the Pathfinders to kill as many, or we try to kill this last unit. It is like Vulcan, I think, plus one company hero guy. So we do kill everything down to the character. I think has 2 wounds. We do is we charge in. We put two instances of mortals on 4-ups into that character. We put the 4 into the rest of the unit. We kill that character with the impact mortals, and then we put like 4 or 5 more onto the rest of the unit. We line up this rail hammerhead onto this hammer strike because it only has 7 wounds left. So I know if I just get the wound through, it automatically dies. So that's where this unit ends up guiding. We end up putting this whole fire knife unit into an Infernus unit that's standing over here that he brings on from reserves. And then we put one of the broadsides into the Eradicators because those guys need to die as soon as possible. They're super lethal to my army. We basically pick up everything that's in front of us, at which point Adam is pretty happy to concede here because he's basically run out of units to play the game with, which is, the play pattern that Aux wants to be in. Is I don't think I need to have like a critical amount of damage so much as like I need to be able to make fine cuts of my opponent's army and ideally take out as many scoring pieces as possible, because I'm using stuff like these guys to scoring points later on in the game, whereas he's now having to use Predators, Thunderstrikes, because I've killed all of his 5-man Furnace Marines, I've killed his transports, and so he doesn't really have as much stuff to play the game, both kill me and score points. So this is the point at which Adam conceded. Now, before we hop into the review of the new list that I built for Auxiliary Cadre, I want to give a huge shout out to our channel's patrons. Wouldn't be possible to do stuff without you guys. Really appreciate the support throughout the videos, and yeah, you guys are the best. Alrighty, so let's talk about this list. So this is very similar to what I brought to LVO. The only change really is I'm bringing an extra Crew Carnivore unit, and I'm bringing an extra Pathfinder unit. And what I dropped is one broadside battlesuit and one stealth suit unit to pick up an ethereal as well. So the thought process for this list is I really like having these 40 bodies here to help play the game early on and create screens for my guns and for my rampagers. I think this shooting package, what I have here, like as far as anti-tank is concerned, is essentially one broadside plus 2 skyrays and then 1 riptide that I can flex into a strength 12 riptide. So that is basically, in my eyes, enough output to kill one really tough thing, which is what I really need. And then the rest of my list is just going to be scoring as much as possible and killing my opponent's scoring unit. So this list isn't going to do super well into stat checks, but it is going to do well into elite and MSU armies, in my opinion, because of the level of screens, the amount of rampagers and trading units that I have, plus the ghost skills. What I really need to focus on in a list like this is making sure I get consistent value out of the ghost skills and riptides. Now, one easy change I could see someone making here is dropping, let's say, 1 Crew Carnivore unit and upgrading both of the Ghost Keels to Riptides. Now, I think that's certainly a pretty strong choice here in the meta. Now, I do really just love Ghost Keels for the utility that they bring, the scoring. I think they're really strong. Now you do have Shadow Sun, so at least you'll have one lone op if you do decide to drop the ghost skills. But I think this is a really strong list for both playing the game, also dealing a bunch of damage. The Rampagers, the 6-man Rampagers, obviously they act as anti-tank. Really, the issue you're going to run into is with lists that have many tough, like high toughness units. Like anything like multiple T12 units is going to be a problem. I've been watching War Games Live today. This is Sunday when I'm recording, and so the list that we've seen a lot on stream, the Death Guard list, I think this would probably have a hard time into. It really depends on how much value my opponent can get out of Morty, the Demon Prince, but I could see that being an issue. But as far as the rest of the armies that we're seeing in the meta, like there's a lot of MSU going on here, and so I think this army has a really good chance to those. So this is where my thought process goes as far as like the changes to stealth suits are concerned. Obviously, I only have the 1 plus Shadow Sun, so I think if you're only taking 1 plus Shadow Sun, I think multiple Pathfinders is mandatory. I think a couple Sky Rays is really helpful as well. There's a world where you could drop Shadow Sun and pick up a second stealth suit unit if you really want to. I just don't see 110 points for that buff being worth it. I already had them get tagged in a game recently where I could not fall back and shoot, which really just hurt my soul. So I would suggest playing around with 1 plus Shadow Sun for now. And if you do have to fall back on the more units of them as well, I think that could be okay. I think there's also a world where you probably just don't take any stealth suits, to be honest. You just take Shadow Sun, pick up another Pathfinder unit. That way you have more units that interact with the game in a meaningful way, because right now all I see the stealth suits ever really doing, because they don't have fallback and shoot, is staying in a really safe firing angle where they pop out and you probably get 2 or 3 uses out of them per game, which just isn't a ton of value for 110 points in my opinion. So that's going to do it for today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know your thoughts down below. We'll be curious to hear what you think about the list that I built, the planes, and kind of how you guys are dealing with like the changes to cell suits and whatnot. Catch you guys in the next one. Peace.